we're taking flight. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the wind-sharp blade. Adrenaline rush fills a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, electric roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rubber bullets, streams ignite. Steel beats charging into the fight. No regrets, no slowing down. We're the kings of this battleground. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. Engines swinging, tires break the ground. Beagles, trucks, where legends are crowned. Metamorphosis, name burning in the night. Lights flash, speed clash, we're taking flight. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metamorphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the wind-sharp blade. Adrenaline rush fills a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, electric roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles, trucks, we're beyond compare. Metal morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rubber bullets, streams ignite. Steel beats charging into the fight. No regrets, no slowing down. We're the kings of this battleground. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here this evening from the beautiful Phoenix Raceway. And it's here this evening, the Morphosis Machine LLC, Richard Bradshaw presented HCK Beagles Truck Series gets underway here tonight for another great afternoon of racing action for what is going to be a ton of fun, some great racing, and some absolutely elbows up, action-packed, back-and-forth battles here today as each and every one of these drivers looking to try and hopefully put themselves up and into victory lane for our third race of this season. And so far we've seen some really good drivers make some really good moves, some big wins here. We saw the 18 ride of Jacob Grube able to pick up win number 2 last Tuesday night as Grube was able to put the Metamorphosis Machine LLC ride up and into victory lane. So good to see our sponsor already getting into victory lane early on here this year as our series sponsor picking up the dub. And then we saw at week number one we saw Robert Howard pick up the win at Daytona International Speedway in a absolutely great race, absolutely amazing race for that number 50 ride. Unfortunately, doesn't look like we're going to have Robert Howard here. He wasn't here last week, not here again this week. I don't know where Robert's been, but man, he got a big win, able to put himself into a great spot early on in the season. We'll have to wait and see if that locked him into the playoffs, if that will keep him in the action here for the playoffs this year, as we do have about 17 drivers ready to rumble here this evening. One of those being the guy who came close to finding victory lane both races, came third in at Daytona, came second last week at Auto Club, and now here he is. Unfortunately, not the best qualifying effort, didn't get out there onto the racetrack. So for Cal Turbeville, unfortunately for that 64, he'll have to start at the back of the pack here today as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to duke it out, ready to go to battle here in this one as the Snyder Bees Racing ride of Mr. Nicholas Snyder. Snyder will start in that pole position. Great qualifying effort there for that 5 ride as the Jegs.com number 45 of Chris Gilbert will start in position number 2. Tyler Lemon in the Winker Nation number 42 ride of Kevin Winker will round out our top 4 out there on the speedway. Starting back in position number 5, it is that Hometown Garage number 68 of Evan Gourmet, who was outside last season's champion and last week's winner, the 18 ride of Jacob Grube. Starting in 7th will be the Tech Warrior number 19 ride of Ed Kosherberger, as Kosherberger will start in position number 7. Brad Lane will start to his outside in position number 8. The Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 77 ride of Brandon Ming will start 9th into his outside in the 83. That is the Juke Joint, the Frets for Pets number 83 of Dimitri Curtis. Curtis will start there in that 10th position. Starting back in position number 11 is another beautiful Frets for Pets ride as the Juke Joint Machine, the 4 of Tim Blankenbeckler, will start in 11th. To his outside, the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters and number 87 of John Herbert, his teammate in the Ridge Powersports 469. It's Ryan Peterson. They start there in 12th and 13th. Starting in 14th, the outside of row number 7 in that Midnight Racing League number 25. That is Gordon Glidewell. Starting back in the 15th position in the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 13 ride, it is Kyle Van Tassel to his outside. Great run last week going there for that 14 machine as the Waffle House ride will start in the 16th position and bring up the rear of the field. One driver that's found the top 3 both weeks so far this season is that beautiful Howard Physiotherapy number 64 ride, the innovative ride, as the 64 will start back there in the 17th position for Cal Turbeville at the back of the pack. Because I don't know if it's physiotherapy. What does it say there on the back? Okay, so the Howard Orthotics and Prosthetics. Okay, so it's Howard Orthotics and Prosthetics on board here with the Klondike number 64, Cal Turbeville, as you'll see 16 drivers in front of him. We'll have to wait and see if he can try to navigate his way to the front of the field and try to make a run for another podium here to make it 3 in a row to start this season. As here we go, as we get ready to end all the anticipation with our feature presentation, as Nicholas Snyder will see that green flag fly, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is on like Donkey Kong here this evening as Nicholas Snyder Snyder out in front, winning that pole award here. He wins the Tech Warrior pole award. Shout there to Tech Warrior coming on board and sponsoring our pole award. So for the 5 ride, the Snyder Bees Machine winning the pole award here this evening, presented by Tech Warrior. Great shout out there to them, and great shout out there to the pole winner as he's able to lead lap number 1 here, as you see these drivers using that dog leg already, taking advantage of it, trying to use it to their advantage, cutting that race course, trying to cut the racetrack a little bit there down the front straightaway here at Phoenix Raceway, and sometimes they can work out really, really nicely for you, cutting that corner. Sometimes it can really affect your car. The handling can go away in a quick hurry. You can end up with some issues. You get down in there, it can be very dirty racing surface compared to up here on the actual racetrack. So all the dirt, grime, dust, everything else, rocks and pellets, it all kind of gets washed down onto that apron, and when you get down there, it can really dirt up your tires. It can get you very loose. We've seen numerous drivers lose the handle of their car, especially when you go for that transfer from the racing surface onto that apron. You can really lose the rear end, loop yourself around in a quick hurry. So a lot of these drivers trying to play it a little bit safer, trying to keep themselves for the most part on the racing surface, but you do see that number 29 ride of Tyler Lemon in the beautiful Napa Auto Parts, the gold filters ride. He's been using it pretty solidly here in this race already, but now there are some things with that dog leg that you gotta be worried about. Not only is it dirty, not only is it tricky to get down and off of, but the big thing is even if you do get a big run, you get a great drive, the drivers that are on the racing surface, they do not have to give you a lane. See how these guys are up against that yellow, they're up against the blue wall here. They're up against the outside fence. A lot of drivers will run up there because it can help them out with their arc and their drive getting into corner number 1 here at the Speedway, but it's not to their prerogative. Late in the race, we see some late race caution flags. They can use that apron virtually running just right against the double yellow line here, or well, the single yellow line, I guess it is here at this racetrack. But you see how the 29 ride up against the fence, he can move down to that yellow line. It virtually would have blocked the 68 ride from rejoining the racing surface. It's the 68 ride's fault. If there's an issue, if there's a wreck, if there's something that happens, that's on him. Is look at, we do see one going around, and it is the 42 of Kevin Winker, the Winker Nation Muleburger Custom Homes Sonic Graphic Designs ride goes for a loop here on the back straightaway, and man, that's going to bring our first caution flag of the day. Big issue here as you see the 18 ride right there of Jacob Grube after winning last week. Grube all of a sudden going to run into issues here. Let's see if we can get another angle at it as you're going to watch Grube come out of corner number 2 right here. You can see that rear end already sliding out on him. He's trying to save it, trying to correct it here, trying to get this thing pointed back in the right direction. Unfortunately, it snaps loose and goes right up the racetrack. Unfortunately, ends up clipping that left rear quarter panel of the 42 of Kevin Winker. Both drivers slide down the racetrack. Pretty solid contact into the inside fence for both drivers. That's going to cause quite a bit of issues early on this evening for them, and they're going to have to get the crews to go to work, try to get these things repaired, try to get them back into good working condition. Group definitely got the worst end of it. Quite a bit of contact there for that 18 ride. So for the Morphosis machine, starting out already here this evening, not the way he wanted things to go. So things are going to get definitely a whole lot more difficult here for Jacob Grube as he can watch the hands here on this car and on this truck. Let's see if we can jump right into the cockpit. Take a look at the helmet cam here and watch how much of the wheel he's using, trying to get this thing just pointed back in the right direction. Is down and out of 2 right here. This is where he gets loose. You see him cranking that wheel to the right, trying to get it hooked back to the right way. Unfortunately, it just pulls too far up there and gets up into Kevin Winker, and that's going to be a huge hit right there for Winker and for Mr. Grube, as they'll both spend extended period of time down pit road here trying to get their cars fixed up, trying to get these trucks back out there onto the racetrack. Now they'll have to be very eyes wide open, trying to make sure that they do not get lapped here. You do not want to lose a lap. You never know with the HCK Beagles when the next caution flag will fly. You never know when that is going to be an issue, when that may be a possibility to get another yellow flag to get you back onto the lead lap. As you do see Winker leaving pit road, here comes Jacob Grube. So both drivers doing a fantastic job getting out before the pace car could pass them right there, and that's going to be a great break for him, as we did see about 5 drivers elect to stay out on the racetrack. So John Herbert, Brandon DeMing, Ryan Peterson, Dimitri Curtis, and Tim Blankenbeckler all stay out here. They do not come down pit road here with that lap 6, lap 7 caution flag, as everyone else did come down pit side, so it moves Snyder back to 6. Evan Coulmet now into 7th. Tyler Lemon right there in 8th with Chris Gilbert, Brad Lane, Cal Turbeville, Gordon Glidewell, our top 12, all ready to rumble, ready to go back to green flag racing. We do see K-Dub Winker back into the battle. Same with Jacob Grube as Kyle Van Tassel. Unfortunately for Kyle, looked like he had come down pit road back on lap number 7. And unfortunately for the 13 ride, this is a huge mistake out of this Ridge Powersports ride. Gets a black flag. Too fast down pit road for the 13 ride. He will have to serve a black flag penalty down pit side once we go back to green flag racing. And unfortunately, that will drop him deep into this field and potentially multiple laps down, but he may get blasted. There may be another yellow flag. Oh man, how did they not go around? Hard contact though nonetheless for the 4 ride of Tim Blankenbeckler. Tim kind of getting ran over right there. Let's take a look back at it as he's got the 1 ride of Brad Lane jump into his outside right here, and unfortunately they're just not clear. Then they end up making contact as both drivers get a little squirrely, and actually that's Evan Gomet who gets into him right there as Gomet makes contact with that 4 ride. That sends the 4 up into the outside fence. Pretty solid contact right at the get-go on that restart for Tim Blankenbeckler. Not the way he wanted things to go, is out in front. The Ridge Powersports number 77 ride up Brandon DeMing. DeMing has the race lead here. Nicholas Snyder right back up into position number 2. He did not take long to gain a few spots here. Went from 6 on that restart, now back into 7th, and he's looking to go after our race leaders, John Herbert, Ryan Peterson, Dimitri Curtis. So far, the strategy call of staying out on the racetrack has worked out all right for them. They're hanging with these guys. They're not giving up too much track position compared to the 4 machine, as we do see Kyle Van Tassel. He's been down pit road. He's served his penalty. He's getting ready to roll back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately for this 13 ride, I do believe he's already at least 1 lap down. There goes the field. That will put him another lap down. So now 2 laps down out there on the racetrack for that 13 ride. He's going to need a couple caution flags and to hope to try to get himself back onto the lead lap here. He's definitely going to need some lucky breaks to get himself back into the action. As Brandon DeMing, though, DeMing with the fresh air, the clean air, he's out in front, and he's looking to try to keep all these guys back there at bay. As Amanda Joyce says, hashtag Winker Nation, cheering on K-Dub here this evening, and Janelle says, let's go, Team HP Motorsports, cheering on all the HP Motorsports rides. Well, there's one right now, that Ridge Powersports KR Gutters 77 ride of Brandon DeMing out in front, leading this race. John Herbert right there in third. He's looking to the outside of Nicholas Snyder, and you do see the 469 of Ryan Peterson right there ready to pounce as well. Unfortunately for Dimitri Curtis in that Friends for Pets ride, he slid back now into about the 7th position, but still holding on pretty strong here. For Carter, then did not come down pit road. Now, I'm not sure if any of these drivers took tires or if this is all about fuel strategies. Fuel strategy could be the big play on the day to keep yourself into the battle, to keep yourself in the action here. Making the fuel strategy calls, even though it's been 7 laps, those 7 laps could be make or break here on, being able to be there at the end and put yourself into victory lane. As let me take a look here at our next race info. So I do believe for these drivers, 165 laps, there will be a stage end at the end of lap number 50. There will be no caution flag, but at the end of lap number 50, we will give out stage points here to our top 6 drivers. So top 6 definitely hoping to try to earn those stage points. They can go a very long way in the point standings. All these drivers, they have 4 sets of tires back behind pit wall. So I don't know how you want to break that up. Try to break it up into 3s, almost like 3-stop race, maybe 4. Trying to get down to like lap 150, somewhere in there for your final stop. Make sure you got those fresh tires. man, it's going to get interesting because a lot of these guys, 50% fuel, 0 fast repairs, you know, that 50% fuel, that's going to be a big chunk of change. That's really going to hurt these guys. So I think really a fuel run, they can probably only go 30 to 40 laps on a tank of fuel. So if you split up those tires, 40 laps, and 40 laps, you know, that puts you at lap 120 with enough tire to get to the end, but maybe not enough fuel. So we could see a lot of drivers trying to play that, you know, fuel strategy, and maybe pitting there on lap number 7 just made the call. As I think if you can only make it 40 laps, you know, if you didn't come down pit road during that first caution flag, that kind of puts you into an area of having to pit around lap 40, lap 80, lap 120, and then probably being a little bit shy, having to come back down pit road somewhere around lap number 160, being 5 laps short of fuel at the end. But for all these other drivers that came down pit road on lap number 7, that opens up the door for them to maybe only have to make 3 pit stops instead of 4 here throughout this feature event. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to play out for them and how much that you know, fuel strategy and tire strategy will play out here today. As tires are going to be a bit of a hot commodity. Tire wear is going to play an issue and probably will wreak a little bit of havoc on these drivers throughout tonight's feature event. As Brandon Ming with the race lead, John Herbert there in second. Snyder, Peterson, and Clement round out our top 5. Tyler Lemon right there in that 6th position with Chris Gilbert, Cal Turbeville, who started at the rear of the field. Brad Lane and Kyle Wiggins back there rounding out our top 10. Dimitri Curtis has fallen back now into 11th there in his juke joint ride, as you see Ed Koshersberger in the Tech Warrior number 19 ride back there in 12th. Kevin Wanker, Gordon Glidewell, Jacob Grube, 2 of those drivers that just got tied up in that first caution flag of the day. For Wanker back up into 13th, Grube there in 15th. Unfortunately, they have not worked their way back up towards the top 5, top 10 like they were prior to that caution flag. So we'll have to wait and see if they can find that extra gear and drive themselves up there into the battle. As Tim Blankenbeckler there in 10th or 16th position, and then we do see Kyle Van Tassel. Unfortunately for Kyle, still a couple laps down here after serving a black flag penalty. Tough break there for that number 13 ride, as we do see John Herbert and Ed Koshersberger come down pit road here. I think this is just iRacing messing with us because both drivers are still rolling out there. Sometimes if they are exiting corner number 2 super low, it'll tell me that they're hitting pit road, but they actually are on pit road. They technically don't go into pit lane, but we'll have to see if we can kind of clarify that here throughout this race. You take a look here at this 87 ride, still trying to hold off Nicholas Snyder, where you watch the 87 and the 5 ride. If they go too low below that yellow line, where we'll see a lot of drivers throughout this race go down there, that's really where we'll see that issue, and we'll kind of get tripped out on whether or not drivers are actually heading down pit side or if they're staying out on the racetrack. So we'll have to keep a lookout for that one. It's out in front. Continue to lead this race. 24 laps into this feature event. It's Brandon Deming who has the race lead. John Herbert back there in second. Nicholas Snyder right there in third, ready to pounce, ready to make some moves. They got about a second between themselves in this battle for position number 4 as Mr. Peterson trying to hang on to it. Peterson working that outside lane. Evan Gomet, though, down low, has been taking some peeks down there, trying to figure out a way to get around this 469 ride. Has yet to be able to complete that pass, and it's bringing this 29 ride of Tyler Lemon right into the battle. So Tyler Lemon, they're almost 3 wide here down the front straightaway and through that dog leg. Luckily enough, they get things kind of more sorted out. They go back to at least 2 wide here for a battle for that 5th position, and it looks like Tyler Lemon will be able to get the power down and take that spot away from Evan Gomet. So Evan slides back now into 6. Here comes Chris Gilbert right onto his back bumper. Here comes Turbeville and Brad Lane as some great racing action here in this one, man. These guys have been putting on a show for us, but it is that Ridge Powersports 77 ride. A Brandon Ming out in front who was able to use the Ridge Powersports caution flag there at lap number 6 to his advantage. obviously not coming down pit road. He will be slacking and lacking a little bit on that fuel mileage, but for the 77 ride, got the clean air, got some clean racetrack in front of him, no traffic. He's sitting pretty, feeling good out there on the speedway. We'll have to wait and see how long he can hang on to it and how long he'll be able to keep this 77 ride out in front as he's opened up almost a second and a half lead here as we see John Herbert and Snyder once again battling for position number 2. Snyder a few times has gotten down to the inside, has taken a couple looks underneath the 87, hasn't yet been able to complete that pass for that second position on the racetrack, and unfortunately for both of these drivers is allowing Brandon Ming to open up more and more of a race lead. As Nicholas Snyder back there in third, we do see Tyler Lemon able to work his way around Ryan Peterson, so Peterson slides back into position number 5 as Tyler Lemon now into position number 4. Evan Matt again trying to take another look underneath that 469 ride, just can't quite get the power down when he needs it to be able to complete that pass, but he gets a great run on the exit of corner number 4 and down through that dogleg. He'll cut the course, he'll look to shave off a little bit of ground here, gets a great run down into corner number 1. This may be what he needs to clear that 469 ride of Ryan Peterson in as he slides up the racetrack just in front of the 469. That will put him into position number 5. So for Peterson, slides back now into that 6th position, may fall back to 7th even farther here as he may get freight train down low as here comes that 64 ride of Cal Turbeville now to his inside. Here comes the one of Brad Lane as well, ready to poke his nose right underneath him here, ready to try to take another spot away from Ryan Peterson. It's again Snyder and Mr. Herbert battling here for second, and it's exactly what Brandon Deming wants to see. He's got almost a 2-second gap now between himself and the 87 of John Herbert, his teammate out there on the speedway, and this is exactly what Brandon Ming wants to see. And as we get closer and closer to what could be potentially green flag pit stops here just around the horizon for a lot of these drivers having to make these green flag pit stops, that will be, I think, the make or break here to the night. An issue down pit road, sliding through your pit stall, getting 2 tires compared to 4 tires, speeding down pit side, anything that could happen like that could potentially take you out of this race and take your chances of winning this race right away from you. As you do see, using that dog leg, Snyder able to get a great run, slides up in front of John Herbert and will jump back up into position number 2. Now, he is 2 seconds back of Brandon Ming. We'll have to wait and see here after 33 laps of racing action how much wear and tear each driver's put onto their tires and see if Brandon Ming can try and pull away still. If he can still try to open up a bit more of a gap between himself and Snyder, as Snyder trying to hang on to position number 2. It's John Herbert and Tyler Lemon still sticking right there with him, man. Lemon's car looking very, very good here on the longer run. The 29 ride has been racing his way up to the front here, looking ready to pounce, ready to make some moves and trying to put himself up inside the top 3. Let's see if he can try to find and navigate his way around John Herbert here this evening as Evan Goulmet back there in 5th. Chris Gilbert sits in 6th. The driver who started at the rear of the field here this evening, it was Cal Turbeville. Turbeville there in position number 7. Is Brad Lane, Kyle Wiggins in the Waffle House ride there in 9th, and Ed Kostersberger now rounding out our top 10. Ryan Peterson back in position number 11 with Kevin Winker, Dimitri Curtis, Jacob Grube there in 14th, and then we do see the 25 ride of Gordon Glidewell. Glidewell, the first car to come down pit side here for these green flag pit stops. Now, this is a very big surprise as Glidewell came down pit road during that first caution flag of the day, our only caution flag of the evening, back on lap number 7. He was down pit side, so making this earlier pit stop than everybody else, trying to leapfrog himself, trying to use the fresher tires to his advantage. May work out here. We'll have to wait and see what the game plan is here for this 25 ride, and for how long he may be able to run compared to all these other drivers out there on the speedways. They continue to keep on rolling. No one's really come down pit road during the green flag as of yet, other than that 25 ride, as down and across the line will complete lap number 37. So maybe pitting a little bit early, maybe just trying to use the tires to his advantage here, trying to use them to potentially leapfrog a lot of these other drivers. Is already tire fall off over this 37 lap run. We've seen about a second or better of tire fall off for all these drivers. So losing a second at a time, that means when this 25 ride gets rolling again, these drivers are going to be losing probably about a second a lap out there on the speedway too. And if he was 10 seconds back of our race leader and they stay out for 10 more laps, then it could leapfrog him in front of our race leaders by the time they come down pit road and get their final or first pit stops of the day completed. Is Brandon Deming right there behind him? You can watch as that number 25 ride, who was running deeper in the field, how he's going to continue to pull away from our race leader. Even though Deming is out in front, he's one of the fastest trucks out there on the racetrack. He will not be able to hang with that 25 ride. We'll see him continue to pull farther and farther away, and that's the big gap that we're talking about here when it comes to the tire strategies. We do see Dimitri Curtis and Tim Blankenbeckler now down pit road, so a pair of the Friends for Pets juke joint rides head down pit side. Now these two, unfortunately, were not down pit road on lap number 7 like we saw a lot of these other drivers, but now with them coming down pit side, makes things very, very interesting. And now we see another wave of drivers. Here comes Brandon Ming. Here comes Tyler Lemon. John Herbert down pit road. Ryan Peterson also down pit side. I do believe that's going to be all of our drivers that did not come down pit road during that yellow flag that are now down pit side. As Nicholas Snyder will consume that race lead. We'll see how much farther he pushes it here, how far he rolls with these drivers that are down pit road, how much time he may want to give up and try to balance out with tires later in the run. We'll have to wait and see what Snyder's game plan will be, as he's going to stay for at least another lap here. So is an Evan Goulmet, Chris Gilbert, Brad Lane, Cal Turbeville, Kyle Wiggins, Ed Koschersberger, Kevin Winker, and Jacob Grube all staying out there for a little bit longer. A lot of these drivers, though, coming down pit road just prior to lap number 40. A few right on lap number 40. So we'll have to wait and see how this gets played out. Who's going to put themselves into the winning strategy here this evening. As for the Richard Brashaw presented HCK Beagles Metamorphosis Machine LLC Truck Series, for a lot of these drivers, fuel is going to be a big key to success here this evening. It's going to be a big game plan and a big, win or loss momentum area. You wait too long, you get caught off cycle, it can really hurt your chances of trying to put yourself into a winning situation. You come down pit road too early, we see a caution flag, and you lose a couple laps, that's really going to set you back here compared to all the other drivers out there on the speedway. So you got to be very, very cautious, and you just got to hope that it stays clean and green. And with these pit stops and the strategies being played out for these drivers, we've seen numerous races here with the HCK Beagles go clean and green, see zero caution flags, and that is a possibility here tonight. After we saw the one early yellow flag, we may not catch another yellow here in this race. So making the right calls, putting yourself into the right position to come down pit side throughout this race could decipher kind of your game plan, and it can also decipher on how this is going to work out for you and whether or not you can win tonight's feature event. Sometimes compounding issues down pit road, a bunch of different pit cycles can put you behind the 8 ball. Sometimes coming down too early or anything else can really curse you later on in a tire run. So we'll have to wait and see, as you do see our race leader battling here. That's the 83 ride of Dimitri Curtis. Curtis currently sits back in the 15th position. He is 2 laps down now. He'll go to 1 lap down as he's able to finally complete that pass and get around the 5 of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder, our race leader, heads down pit road. Ed Koschersberger going to come with him here in that number 19 ride. So they head down pit side, looking to get some fuel and tires and ready to slide back out there onto the racetrack, as it will give the race lead to Chris Gilbert. So Gilbert now now out in front. Brad Lane right there in position number 2. Kyle Wiggins back in third with Kevin Winker in position number 4. And looking for more out there on the speedway. Jacob Grube back there in that 5th position. So a pair of the drivers that were down pit road on lap number 7. 2 drivers that were tied up in that first caution flag. And so far our only caution flag of the day. Stay out a little bit longer. But now here we go. We do see Gilbert, Lane, Wiggins, and Grube all come down pit road. But one driver who's going to run it a little bit longer here. Always one to play the strategy. It's Kevin Winker. K-Dub going to stay out here a little bit longer. Trying to see if he can kind of find himself a good spot out there on the racetrack, trying to find himself a little extra comfort when it comes to the fuel mileage. If you are that 42 ride, being able to have this longer run, it's going to suck at the start of the run. You're going to be so much farther back than everybody else, but when you have the better tires, you should be able to close that gap, reel them in more and more and more, but it also really brings into the possibility for Winker to be able to run an extended period of time here and really save some fuel for late in this race, and could really decipher his pit strategy here today. As K-Dub out in front continues to lead the way, this time by the start-finish line. They will complete lap number 49 here this evening. So 49 laps have been completed. Still a lot of laps left to go. 116 left to duke it out here in this one. And man, it's going to be a lot of fun as we do see kind of all the pit cycle except for Winker kind of get followed through here. And it will put Brandon Deming as what will be our race leader once Winker comes down pit road. But Winker is going to stay out here even longer. Man, this is a bold strategy here for K-Dub as he's going to lead a few more laps here. He's going to click off lap number 50. And I think for Winker, the big strategy here was winning that stage and down across the line. For the 42, looks like he's out of fuel, so he ran it dry. But for Kevin Winker, he's able to win the stage. The completion of lap number 50 is the end of our stage, and for Winker, he's able to get the stage win. Brandon Ming will come home in second, Nicholas Snyder in third, John Herbert, Cal Turbeville, and Tyler Lemon all earning some stage points here this evening. So great break for them. Obviously, Winker, we talked about how he was staying out longer and longer and longer. I thought maybe it was just fuel mileage game plan. It may become that, but for the 42 ride, obviously he had a bigger picture in mind, and that was earning the stage win here this evening. So for Winker, getting the stage win, putting the Muhlenberger Custom Homes ride into the stage win again here this evening. I don't know who talked the admin group into having these stages, but so far it has worked out very, very well for this 42 machine. For Kevin Winker, all 3 races here this year, all 3 races he has won the stages. And for the 42 ride, man, he's got to be feeling pretty happy, pretty good about being able to win all 3 stages in all 3 races so far. And now he gets the battle. He's got the freshest tires out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately, he is very close to becoming the next driver to go a lap down here. Him and Dimitri Curtis are just in front of our race leader, Brandon Deming, and you see Deming with a massive lead, 4.7 seconds between himself and his teammate John Herbert. As Herbert rolls in position number 2, he's looking to hold up and kind of use up this number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. As Snyder sits back in position number 3 again for Snyder. He's got to figure out a way to try to get up and around that number 87 ride. Cal Turbeville, he's now up into position number 4 on the speedways. Evan Gourmet there in 5th. Tyler Lemon back in 6th with Brad Lane and Koshersberger. Kyle Wiggins, Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, Gordon Glidewell, our top 12 here on the speedway. Jacob Grube and Kevin Winker, 2 drivers that came down pit road there a lot later than everybody else. They're just battling here, and they are pulling away from our race leaders. As of right now, Winker came down pit road on lap number 51. Compared to our race leaders here with Brandon Ming and John Herbert, they were down pit road on lap number 40. So that virtually gives 11 lap better tires for Kevin Winker. And that could really play into his favor here throughout this race. As you do see Mr. Grube, he's right there behind him. Grube came down pit road 4 laps after Kevin Winker. So really just in those 4 laps, you can see the benefits there as Winker was able to get around this 18 ride and open up a bit of a lead now over top of the 18 machines. So we'll have to wait and see how this strategy plays out for K-Dub here this evening. But let's see some hashtag Winker Nations in the chat right now for Kevin Winker, able to win the stage here this evening, man. That's a big, big win. That's a big up right there for K-Dub, as winning the stage, earning those extra points, could really turn a mediocre day into a great day here for that 42 ride. So we'll have to wait and see if we can get another good finish, another solid top 5 run for Kevin Winker, and using that to potentially stretch out what could be a points lead for that 42 ride. I think the points are going to be really, really tight here. There's a few drivers that I think are going to be very, very close together here for the points lead after our first 2 races, and even after this race may be very, very interesting to see where everyone's kind of stacked up together. With Cal Turbeville getting his way back inside the top 3 here, as you do see Nicholas Snyder. Snyder is falling quite a ways back here. The 5 ride, I'm not sure what's gone wrong here with this 5 machine, but for Snyder, he is falling all the way back now into that 6th position. So I'm not sure if he's just trying to save as much tire as possible, or if potentially he didn't even get tires on at all to this 5 ride during his pit stop. Let's see if we can take a look back. He down pit road on lap number 46. So let's take a look here, see if Snyder it ended up, I don't know if this is it or not, or if this is the next lap. I believe right here we should see Snyder come down pit side. So here comes Snyder down pit road. Let's see if he ends up putting tires onto this truck or not, because that could be a very big, bold strategy out of the 5 ride, or he's just trying to save as much tire for later in this run right now, as he's fallen quite a bit back here. Just very odd for our pole sitter. One of the fastest trucks out there on the racetrack, and there we go. That's exactly it. So Nicholas Snyder trying to save an extra set for late in this race. Took fuel only down pit road. So for Snyder, he's out there on the racetrack right now on older tires. That's the reason why he's fallen back as much as he has. Now back into that 6th position. And unfortunately, he may continue to fall farther and farther away, but with the extra set of tires back there behind pit wall for this SPR machine, potentially, that's exactly what he needs to try to find victory lane here late in this race, especially if we do see a few late race caution flags could really help him out and put him into a position to get the, extra edge over the rest of these competitors out there on the speedway. It's Brandon the Ming, though. The Ming continues to lead the way. He's out in front, showing these drivers how to get it done here in this one of 62 laps now completed out there on the raceway. As, man, Phoenix Raceway, such a beautiful racetrack, such a great place to be. And for these drivers, man, it's a lot of fun to watch them battle out there on the slick, hot surface in the hot Phoenix sun. As Cal Turbeville from the back of the pack now up and into position number 2. He has gained 15 positions here on the speedway, and he's looking to gain at least 1 more, as Cal hoping to try to put himself out in front, probably wanting to lead some laps here and maybe put himself into contention for a big win here today. His teammate Evan Gourmet right there with them in position number 3 as John Herbert and Tyler Lemon round out our top 5. Snyder back there in that 6th position with Ed Koshersberger there in 8th, and then we do see actually Ed Koshberger's there in 7th, and then we see Chris Gilbert back in the 8th position. Brad Lane all the way back here in position number 9. A little farther back, you see the 14 ride. That is Kyle Wiggins. He's got Ryan Peterson right there with them. Kevin Winker, K-Dub, who's got the freshest tires out there on the speedway, now into position number 12, and he's reeling in these guys in front of him. We'll have to wait and see if Winker can use those, 11 lap better tires to his advantage to make some big passes. You see how quickly he caught up to these guys, man. That was a quick turnaround for the 42 truck. And now with those fresh tires, we'll have to wait and see what he can do with them to try and put himself up and into a solid finish here after winning stage number 1 on the evening for the Winker Nation ride. As he sits out in front, continuing to show these drivers how to get it done here in this one. A long-time veteran here with the HCK Beagles for that 42 truck. So for Kevin Winker, he's got a lot of starts. He's got a lot of races under his belt. He's got a lot of wins. And for the 42 truck, could tonight be another one to add into his historic HCK Beagles career, as the 42 now up into 11th. He's working on our 10th place driver, Kyle Wiggins, for that 10th position right now and down into the dog leg. Looks like the 42 will pull up door to door here with that number 14 run, and it looks like Winker will be able to potentially clear him and take that spot away. There it is. It will slide up just in front of him here on the exit of corner number 2, and luckily enough for Winker, no contact or anything else as K-Dub enters our top 10 here this evening, as he sits now in that 10th position. He may not be done. There's a lot of drivers with a lot older tires here in front of him, including our race leader, Brandon Deming. Deming rolls right there in the top spot, but he does have a very commanding lead over the rest of the field here. After coming down pit road on lap number 40, he was one of the first drivers to really come down pit side, giving up that race lead. And for that Ridge Powersports KR Gutters, number 77, he's now built up almost a 6-7 lap time out there on the speedway. About 6.7 seconds here between himself and Cal Turboville, and 6-7 there for Cal Turboville to try to close that gap and try to hunt down our race leader. Evan Gomet right there with him. Tyler Lemon back there in 4th. John Herbert sits in 5th. Over a second back, you do see Nicholas Snyder, and then he's got about 1.2 between himself and Ed Koschersberger. Chris Gilbert about the same gap back. And we do see Brad Lane and Kevin Winker a little deeper in the field here. Unfortunately for both of these drivers, they'll have to try to play some strategy, try to gain some of that track position back, and try to hunt down our race leaders. As the laps continue to click off, this time by the start-finish line for Brandon Deming, that is lap number 70 off the board here. I do believe that is only 95 laps of racing action left to go this evening. It'll be 94 the next time by the start-finish line here for Mr. Brandon Deming, as man, he has been a man on a mission here in this one. The car is absolutely hooked up and feeling A-OK here today, as Brandon Deming continues to lead this race. Turboville hanging on to second with Evan Gomet right there in 3rd. We saw that a lot last week. We saw these guys duking out and battling hard in both of our races, and for that 64 ride earned himself a 2nd place finish, or actually no, 3rd place finish at Daytona International Speedway 2 weeks ago. Last week came home 2nd at Auto Club Speedway. So for that 64 ride, back-to-back podium finishes, and now here he is midway through this race, rolling in position number 2. He's looking due for potentially a big win here and starting the season off on a great note. 3 trips up and into the podium for the 64 ride, man. No harder start than that right there, as Brandon Deming still out in front, though, trying to open up that race lead, trying to pull away. And now for a lot of these drivers, it starts to bring into that question mark area. When do you come back down pit road? When do you make an additional pit stop here? Is everybody out there on the racetrack, they should know that they have to make it here on potentially one more pit stop. There's a lot of drivers that can only make it on one more pit stop. We could see Kevin Winker or one of these other drivers come down pit road here, around lap, 100. He ran 51 laps. If he can run another 51 laps, it can make things very, very interesting. Actually, I think no matter what, we'll see these guys at least 2 more times down pit road. But that's being said as at least. Other drivers, if they don't get enough fuel into their rides, if they short pit too early, potentially, you may have to see them come down pit road late in this race and just get a splash of gas and go. But that being said, potentially seeing a late race caution flag. Needing that fuel anyways. You got an extra set of tires back there behind pit wall, like the number 5 of Nicholas Snyder. Maybe that plays right into your hand and putting yourself into victory lane. So it could stay clean, it could stay green, but it could go to some caution flags and could really open up the door for those drivers to take advantage here throughout this race. You see the 18 ride of Jacob Groob. Groob picked up the win last Tuesday night. So for Jacob Groob there at Auto Club Speedway, able to use some of that strategy to his own and able to put himself into the winner's circle there at Auto Club. Does he have that same trick up his sleeve here this evening, or will it Gonna cut a little short here as we do see Gordon Glidewell. Glidewell coming down pit road here, so he makes his pit stop. Unfortunately, already at least a lap down, and he'll have to hope to see this one cycle through. No caution flags for that 25 ride as he rejoins the racing surface, and he'll look to keep on rolling here. As now here comes John Herbert, also making his way down pit road. And I think for a couple of these drivers, this is going to put them into a very curious position, because if they kind of keep running the same amount of laps here, even if they run another 40 lap stint, they're going to be coming down pit road again somewhere around lap number 125-ish area, maybe somewhere in there. I guess maybe they can make it here. One more pit stop, they come back down pit road somewhere around lap 125, 130, somewhere in there, that they could get to the end of this race without having to make an additional pit stop. As you do see the 87 look like splash of gas and going right there. There was no waiting around. There was no hesitation out of the 87 ride. And John Herbert ready to just keep on battling here in this one. It's out in front. It's Brandon Deming. Deming with the race lead here. Almost 7 seconds. Virtually the entire back straightaway here between himself and Cal Turbeville. As Turbeville and Evan Gourmet trying to hunt them down. We do see Nicholas Snyder has raced his way back into position number 4. He'll now look to chip away at all these drivers' advantages and trying to put himself into a winning strategy position. As now we do see a couple more cats head down pit side. Here comes Tyler Lemon. Here comes that 469er Ryan Peterson. Looks like Peterson will be done and out of pit road. Tim Blankenbeckler, his teammate, also down pit side. As Lemon will hit his pit stall, the crew will go to work and try to get him back out there onto the racetrack. As a lot of these drivers doesn't look like they're getting any tires here. A lot of these cats look like they're getting fuel only. Maybe everyone's trying to get onto the same page as that 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder, and if they are, that could really open up the door for him, you know, right now to really gain a lot of track time, a lot of track position, as he'll be one of the faster trucks out there on the racetrack, able to throw on a set of tires here around lap number 80. As you do see Gourmet and Turboville, they're both down pit road. Dimitri Curtis now down pit side, and unfortunately for Tyler Lemon, this is a heartbreaker for the 29 ride. Battling up inside our top 5, this Napa Goldfilters 29 ride looked absolutely stout all evening long. Unfortunately for Tyler Lemon, he did earn a black flag down on pit road, and for the 29 machine, that will give him a black flag held down pit road there for a little bit. And unfortunately for the 29, Ryan lost a ton of time right there. That could really take him out of the running here of a top 5 finish this evening. As we'll wait and see when everyone else decides to come down pit road. As of right now, there's still 7 other drivers yet to make their way back down pit side. One of those being Kevin Winker, K-Dub. The strategy here for the 42, Ryan, man, it's going to be interesting to see how this gets played out, as right now he's only ran about 31, 32 laps on a tank of fuel. So even if they can only go 40 laps, I think he's making it very, very close to lap 90-ish area. Could really give him a huge benefit late in this race. And we saw those fresh tires really paying off well for him here throughout that run. He did gain quite a bit of time, quite a bit of track position. So we'll have to wait and see if it plays off the same here again for him, as we do see Nicholas Snyder come down pit road. So Snyder finally heads down pit side after 83, almost 84 laps of racing action. For the tires for that Snyder Bees machine, he heads down pit road. He will get ready to get going here again as soon as the team fires on a new set of tires and fuel into this 5 ride, as we'll wait for more to come down pit road. Here we go, as does look like Ed Kostersberger will give up the race lead himself here. The 19 ride also heads down pit side. So Kostersberger down pit road. Here comes Brad Lane. Here comes Kyle Wiggins also down pit side here. So a couple of drivers making some pretty bold adjustments, pretty bold pit stops here to try to put themselves into the best position possible to try and win this race. As out in front, it's Chris Gilbert, who now has the race lead, but we see Gilbert head down pit road. That will forfeit the race lead over to Kevin Winker. So now for Winker, he's got some laps here. He's got the possibility to do exactly what we saw him do in that opening stint. Right now, it's only him and Jacob Grube who are running a little bit longer, and even for Grube, Group, he comes down pit road here on lap number 85. So really a 35-lap run right there for Jacob Group as he comes down pit road. We'll have to wait and see because the strategy was really working out here for K-Dub, man. That actually worked out really, really nicely for him. We'll wait and see kind of what that game plan is going to be again to try to keep himself not only on the lead lap, but still right in the middle of the action to potentially try and win this race or salvage another top 5 run for that 42 ride. As K-Dub nice and easy down the front straightaway will hit corner number 3 and 4, the same as he has every other lap, and here he comes down and across back straightaway right where the old finish line used to be. That's where the old Phoenix Raceway checkered flag used to be right there. That's where that flag stand was. They had moved it there about 6-7 years ago to this front straightaway. So this has definitely changed over the years here at Phoenix. A lot of those changes being that front straightaway being flip-flopped to the other side for what used to be the front straightaway is now the back straightaway, as they use this as the front stretch. The dog leg is the new front stretch here. That used to be the back straightaway here at Phoenix Raceway. And at the same point in time, this racetrack didn't have this pavement right here. You see where Kevin Winker's kind of running down through this dog leg. That still going. What's going on here with YouTube? Did YouTube just crash on me? What in the world? Jack, did YouTube just crash on me? What in the heck? Why did... Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, it's back. It's back. I see it's back. Okay, so the encoder just decided that it wanted to skip out there for a hot second, but we are back up and running. We are rolling here again, so that is good news. I don't know why it decided it wanted to do that, but nonetheless, we digress and we keep on battling as you finally see Kevin Winker come down pit road. So K-Dub heads down pit side, and you do see tires going on to that 42 ride, so he's going to be looking to use those fresh tires to his advantage, trying to race his way back up towards a good finish here this evening. As Brandon Deming will consume that race lead once again, he has the top spot here. It is 7.5 seconds between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder there in position number 2, looking to try to track down our race leader. He does have about 3-lap better tires. We'll have to wait and see if he can close that gap and reel in that 77 ride. Evan Goulmet back there in third with Cal Turboville in position number 4. John Herbert sits in that 5th position with Ed Koshersberger, Chris Gilbert, Ryan Peterson, Brad Lane, and Kyle Wiggins are top 10 here on the racetrack. For K-Dub, Kevin Winker, he was just down pit road. He's got the freshest tires out there on the racetrack. He'll be looking to use them to his advantage here as he sits back in the 11th position, just in front of our race leader once again. So you do see Jacob Grube there in position number 12. Now for Grube, he's the first truck 1 lap down out here on the speedway, and unfortunately he's in a very tough position because our race leader could run into some more lap traffic just in front of him here, and if he does catch to this lap traffic, that could take Jacob Grube out of that free pass position, put him into a very, very tough spot. For Gordon Glidewell, Glidewell rolls in that 13th spot. He is also a lap down. Same with Tyler Lemon. Lemon, who was having such a great run, had that penalty down pit side. Too fast down pit road for the Napa Gold Filters ride, and unfortunately, that whole down pit road put him a lap down. He's now scored back in the 14th position. He's about the 3rd truck. Unfortunately, a lap down out there on the speedway, and you do see Dimitri Curtis trying to pass him right here. Dimitri also a lap down as the Friends for Pets, the juke joint ride, trying to pass this 29 ride, trying to at least get in front of another one of our lap down drivers, as Kyle Van Tassel also back down pit road, and Tim Blankenbeckler also headed down pit side here. So for Van Tassel and Tim Blankenbeckler, they both hit pit road here. Now we also see Ryan Peterson down pit side here as well. So Peterson also coming back down pit road here. This is another interesting pit stop here, as Peterson will come down pit road. I think for a bunch of these drivers, I think they know that they're going to be short on fuel. So I think what they were doing is they're trying to use potentially fresher tires through their advantage right now. They can make one more pit stop here, somewhere around lap number 130, lap 140, have fresh tires or more fuel and be able to rock and roll here again. So I think for a lot of these guys, they're trying to get that late pit stop out of the way right now, midway through this race, because if they catch a caution flag or something, it could turn over and work into their favor and get them, kind of back into a good position. I'm not sure how this will play out and how this will affect their race through this evening, but we'll have to keep a close eye on it. It's out in front, the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters number 77 rider Brandon Domingue continues to lead the way here. Snyder back there in second as they came back out of pit lane. Snyder was back about 7.5 seconds. He's closed that gap to almost 5 seconds now, so he has been gaining a lot of time over the 77 ride. I do believe Brandon Domingue did not take tires on his pit stop, where the 5 rider Nicholas Snyder did, as both drivers have now kind of went through that cycle. One took him at that first set of green flag pit stops, and that gave Domingue a pretty good lead. For the Snyder, he did not take those fresh tires at that first green flag pit stop, and for the 5 ride, they kind of swapped turns here during this run, and now you see Snyder on the aggressive side of things. He is on the hunt to the front here as Brandon Domingue. He's going to look to try to hold him back there at bay, or at least hope that by the time they have to make another pit stop that he can still be in front of Snyder or still have a bit of an advantage here between himself and that 5 machine. Evan Gomet back in third with Cal Turboville in position number 4 here on the speedway. He's battling hard with his 19 ride. Ed Koschersberger in the Tech Warrior Pop Smoke 22 machine having himself a heck of a day as well here, man. Great racing action as you do see that the 19 of Koschersberger able to make that pass around Cal Turboville and put himself up and into position number 4. Cal slides back to 5th as here comes Brad Lane, here comes John Herbert, Chris Gilbert right there in 8th. Kyle Wiggins back there in 9th as he rolls in that 9th position. You see Kevin Winker, K-Dub, right here with these two. Winker has some of the best tires out there on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if he can quickly work his way around these two, put himself up inside the top 8 on the speedways. There we go. He's going to get right on around the 45 rider, Chris Gilbert. No problem at all right there. Now he's going after Kyle Wiggins and John Herbert, who's not too far away as well. So some great, interesting racing. Obviously, a lot of different pit strategies, and for a lot of these drivers, it's going to be very, very interesting. We do see Tim Blankenbeckler staying down pit road here. Unfortunately for Tim, he's been down pit side now for quite a little while. We saw him pit there around lap number 92, and he is now, unfortunately, about 10 laps down or so out there on the speedways, down across the line. We did see lap 102 get clicked off the board there for Brandon Domingue, as he's now got about 3.4 seconds between himself and Nicholas Snyder. So Snyder continuing to close that gap, continuing to reel down our race leaders, continue to reel these guys in, as it does look like Timmy finally leaving pit road here. So the juke joint frets for bet number 4, Ryan. I'm not sure if he was down there getting extended damage repaired or what the problem was, but nonetheless, he's going to jump back out here. Still look to have some fun as he's back in position number 17 on the speedway. And it looks like for Tyler Lemon, issues here for Tyler Lemon. Looks like Lemon may have come down pit road right here. Not sure if he came down pit side. Yeah, it looks like he comes down pit road off the racing surface, and it looks like he gets down pit road somewhere where we wouldn't see a yellow flag, and he's actually going to exit this car. He's going to tow it down to his pit stall, and it looks like he has left this race. So for Tyler Lemon, he is no longer out there. He has left this race, and for Lemon, having a good run, a solid day. That black flag really set him back, and now looks like he's decided to call it quits early. He's down across the line. They complete lap 105 here this evening. So 105 laps of racing action now done here this evening, and that leaves us with 60 laps of racing action left to go here this evening. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with 60 laps left in this race, we're going to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up! So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 59 laps left to go. This time by the start-finish line. Cheer on your favorite drivers and crank up that volume as we cheer these drivers on. crank it up caution flag. The crank it up caution flag strikes again here this evening as we see a couple, a little bit of smoke here down in corner number 2. Let's take a look back and see what brings out our second caution flag of the day, as it looks like potentially teammates getting tied together here. A pair of Ridge Powersports KR gutter rides right here going to make contact down into corner number 1, and unfortunately you're going to see that 469 rider Peterson still trying to get this thing turned back around, still trying to get it pointed back in the right direction. And for the 469 and the 87, that contact, that damage brings out our second caution flag of the day. Only our second yellow flag here, and that's going to make things very interesting here. As there you go, there's the contact shoved in there, just gets in there a little too far, not quick enough onto the brakes for John Herbert. Then you see Peterson just trying to get this thing pointed back in the right direction, trying to get under control. Both drivers get tied together again. They both go around, stop there on the racing surface, and that puts the caution flag into the air. So our Peacemaker Gaming crank it up caution flag going to be interesting one here this evening, as we do see Kevin Winker, K-Dub, going to stay out right here. That's going to give Kevin Winker the race lead. Obviously now he's going to have about 22 lap older tires and fuel than a lot of these other drivers. But I do believe for a lot of these cats, they're still going to be very, very tight on fuel. I'm not sure if they can make it to the end of this race without having to make a additional pit stop here this evening. As we do see, I believe that is the number 469 of Peterson, the 4 ride of Tim Blankenbeckler. They're looking for the wave around, trying to get back onto at least another lap here, trying to at least get to 1 lap down or 2 laps down here on the evening for both of these cats. So trying to get a lap back by staying in front of our race leaders here is Brandon Deming, Snyder, Evan Gourmet, Ed Kochersberger, Brad Lane, Cal Turbeville, Kyle Wiggins, Chris Gilbert, Jacob Grube, all back on the lead lap, all into the battle here this evening. Newly for John Herbert, he's going to be the first car a lap down. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to get the wave around or not. Being tied up in that wreck, being tied up in that caution flag, I'm not sure if he's going to get the wave or not and get his lap back onto Lucky Donkey or not. Does not look like it. He will go to the tail of the field here, as I do believe Jacob Grube did get the wave around. He is back on the lead lap, but he's got to be very, very careful as he's coming down pit side here. Our race leaders are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. So for Jacob Grube, you got to get this pit stop in, and you got to get rolling here, or else even just getting that 1 lap back may cost you. And man, here they come. They're not waiting. They're not sitting back. They're getting ready to go back to battle, and we're gonna get ready to go back to our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we go back to green flag racing for our second restart of the day. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. 130 laps complete is a beautiful crank it up session here this evening. Drivers giving us a beautiful sights and sounds here at Phoenix Raceway. As of right now, everyone is chasing this number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder out in front, has the race lead, trying to pull away from everybody else as we get very, very close here to potentially seeing our final green flag pit stops of the day. As here we go, we do see Kevin Wanker, first car to come down pit side here, so big strategy call out of that 42 ride, and it looks like he's going to bring Dimitri Curtis down pit side with him. We did see already, we saw Gordon Glidewell make his way back down pit road here on lap 127 as a couple of these drivers blinking, or am I blinking here? Is my stuff crashing, or what in the world's going on here? Packet loss. How am I getting packet loss here? Come on, iRacing, what the is going on here? I ain't getting no packet loss, chat. No packet loss for this guy. What in the world? What in the world? Ain't no way that I'm getting packet loss, bro. That's the first time I've ever actually even seen that. That is actually crazy. That's crazy that I'm blinking. What in the heck? That ain't no way, brother. Is out in front. Snyder continuing to lead the way. Gilbert there in second with Kyle Wiggins back in position number 3. And then we do see Brad Lane right there in 4th. Cal Turbeville now rounding out our top 5 as he's got Chris Gilbert right there behind him in that 6th position. Brandon Ming back in position number 7 here. Unfortunately, he's kind of on a different strategy right now. We'll have to wait and see what Deming's game plan is going to be, as he's already about 12 seconds back behind Nicholas Snyder. 2 drivers that were bound to battle it out and to duke it out here late in this race before that caution flag was thrown. For Jacob Grube, unfortunately for Grube, that pit stop, just as we were going back to green flag racing, did put him back a lap down, but he is currently right now the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack. John Herbert here in 9th, and Kevin Wanker, K-Dub, who we just saw come down pit road here. He's the highest running driver out there on the racetrack right now with these fresh tires, so we'll have to wait and see what K-Dub can do, and if this can work out in his favor for him to leapfrog a bunch of these drivers and potentially put himself into a winning situation here. He'd have to make up a lot of ground, a lot of game time, and a lot of track position to be able to try to win this race. But the longer that he continues to run here with these fresh tires compared to the cats out in front with the older tires right now, is a lot of time that he's going to gain here on them and potentially could leapfrog them late in this race. And if these guys wait too long before they make their final pit stop here in this race, they may not have enough time to track down that number 42. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out for him, as Nicholas Snyder out in front here has the race lead. He's sitting pretty, but the laps are clicking down here in a quick hurry. I believe it should be about 29. It'll be, I think, 28 laps left to go the next time by the start finish line. So 28 laps of racing action left here this evening. I think we're going to see a lot of these drivers probably come down pit road. All the cats are still on the lead lap right now. When we look at our top 7, at Snyder, Gulmet, Kyle Wiggins, Brad Lane, Cal Turbeville, Chris Gilbert, and Brandon Deming, I think we're going to see a lot of these guys probably come down pit road on lap number 140. I feel like we're going to see these guys down pit road on lap 140. Maybe a couple of them stretch it out a little bit farther than that, but I really think that's going to be the big number that a lot of these guys are going to try to hit here for the end of this race. We see this battle brewing back here for position number 2. This is exactly what Nicholas Snyder wants to see. And Snyder out in front has about a 4-second lead here. You see Kyle Wiggins, Evan Gulmet, Brad Lane, and the 64, Cal Turbeville, even the 45 ride, Chris Gilbert right here. They're all stacked on top of each other. They've been beating and banging and battling out there on the racetrack. Everyone just trying to keep themselves rocking and rolling here and hoping to be in position. But right now, that position's looking slimmer and slimmer as Nicholas Snyder continues to pull farther and farther away. It's Tyler Lemon. We talked about how Lemon unfortunately disconnected from the server here. Lemon says, power flickered and shut my computer off. I'll see you guys next week. Give them hell, Winker. Cheered on K-Dub here this evening. Yeah, that's a heartbreaker right there for Mr. Lemon, man. That sucks and never fun when that happens. And for Mr. LePan coming into the chat as well, says, let's go. Cockburger, cheering on Cockburger out there. I'm sure he's cheering on Kosher Burger out there on the speedway, or Kosher Burger, however he says it, Cocker Burger. I don't know if that's how he pronounces it or not. I'm sure it's probably not. It's probably Kosher Burger, or Kosher Burger. Kosher Burger in the 19, right? His beautiful Tech Warrior teammate out there on the speedway is he's cheering him on here this evening. Right now, Ed rolls in the 11th position, as the panel says, unfortunately had to miss this race due to travel for work. That is a heartbreaker right there. So here we go. Lap 141. We do see Chris Gilbert make his way down pit side. So Gilbert hits pit road here in this one. It's Cockburger. I don't know if that's exactly how you pronounce it or not. I don't think that's how you're supposed to say it, Jason. That may be the way you say it. I don't think that's the way that normal people would probably say that name. As we do see Kyle Wiggins also next time around, he comes down pit road. For a lot of these drivers, is time running out? Will they have enough time? Have they given up too much time here? The potential drivers like Kevin Winker, who've been using these fresh tires for 10 plus laps over them, that he may have opened up a big lead here. I'm not sure. It's going to get tight. It's going to get interesting to see kind of how this plays out, as you do see Snyder out there on the racetrack. He currently rolls right there, and down pit road you do see Brad Lane, Cal Turbeville, Evan Gomet. They'll all come down at the same time. Kyle Wiggins just about ready to leave pit road. For Winker, he does leapfrog. He is in front of Chris Gilbert here, but Gilbert does have virtually 10 lap better tires than Kevin Winker. So I think for Winker, the strategy call, the game plan there, it may have worked out for him if we would have stayed clean and green. I'm not sure how well it'll play out for him right now. Maybe it gets him a top 5 run. Maybe he hangs on to it. Maybe he's still got something left in the tank here to try to hold these guys back late in this race, as we do see Brandon Ming. He's staying out quite a bit later here. Ming is going to keep on rolling. He did have a big gap to have to try to build up here and try to close into these other drivers in front of him. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much of a gap that's going to build for him here this evening, and I do believe for Nicholas Snyder, such a big gap already that he's able to get back out on the racetrack after making his pit stop. He is still in front of Kevin Winker. So is in the 14 rider Kyle Wiggins. That's going to put K-Dub right into the middle of that battle that we were watching before green flag pit stops got underway. There's Cal Turbeville. There's that one of Brad Lane. Chris Gilbert right there. Evan Gomet a little farther back. They're in that 10th position. But it's Brandon Deming out in front, leading this race. Can he make it on fuel? I don't know. It's going to be a stretch here. I think this is going to be a 53-lap run. Maybe he's just trying to get lucky. Maybe if he can catch a caution flag, maybe it works out into his favor. Maybe it really gives him an extra edge here late in this race with a late race yellow flag. But I think if he's going to catch that, he needs it in probably the next 5 to 10 laps. He's going to need 10 laps or so to try to work his way out in front and to try to win this race. And he needs these other drivers to kind of burn through a bit of their tire to give him that huge advantage. I think the same goes for John Herbert back here in the 89 ride, obviously trying to stay on the lead lap and also trying to have that extra tire advantage here. Same with Jacob Grube in the 18 ride. So we'll have to wait and see if that's potentially something that may help them out here later in this race. As you do see Wiggins, Cal Turbeville, now Brad Lane and Chris Gilbert all able to get around Kevin Winker. So there goes Gomet as well as Winker having to pit a little bit earlier. It's the 68, very loose right there, pushing that 68 ride. Winker will be able to just stay in front of him here. Unfortunately, 10 lap or better older tires than the rest of these guys. He's just kind of a sitting duck right now. Would definitely need a caution flag and an opportunity to try to put some fresher tires on here for that 42. A Winker to try and work his way back up inside the top 5 again here this evening. As Brandon Deming, though, has this race lead. He's sitting out in front. If he can catch a caution flag, it could definitely go to him as a big break here. Could definitely really help him out here this evening. For Nicholas Snyder, right now, he's just got to be on the game plan. He's got to be on the thought process that Deming can make it on fuel, that Deming is the car he has to beat. So he's tracking down our race leader as of right now. It's about 15 seconds now. He's been running virtually a second second and a bit quicker, almost a second and a half faster than Brandon Domingue, but Domingue is probably going to have to pit here sooner rather than later, as now you do see John Herbert, so he's going to take his chances here, finally come down pit side. Unfortunately, does not catch a caution flag, a timely caution flag to really help him out. And same with Jacob Grube, also had made his way down. Actually, Grube still hasn't made his way down pit road yet either. So for Grube and Brandon Domingue, this could really play out into their favor here if we were to see a late race caution flag, but with only 15 laps left to go, I'm not sure if they're going to get it, man. I'm not sure if they're going to get that yellow flag that they're looking for in time. And if we do, then this will really flip things around here, make things very, very interesting for late in this race. But as of right now, I'm not sure if that's the way it's going to play out for him here this evening. And it may end up hurting this 77 ride more than it may help him here today. As Snyder back there in position number 2. So here we go. You do see the Ridge Powersports KR Gunners ride. Unfortunately, can't wait any longer. Has to come down pit road here. So he'll pit on lap 152 here this evening. Kyle Van Tassel also down pit road here with them. That will forfeit the race lead back over to Nicholas Snyder down the back straightaway and into corner number 3. Snyder will be back out in front, and he's still got a pretty sizable gap between himself and our second place driver, as Kyle Wiggins back here in position number 3. Cal Turbeville in position number, well, I guess now Wiggins in second. Cal Turbeville up and into that third position. He's looking for his third podium out of 3 races here this season, and after starting at the rear of the field for both him and Kyle Wiggins, man, what a run it would be for both of these drivers. Currently both sit 14 positions positive on the board right now, so that is absolutely crazy for both of these cats. The runs that they've had here today and the rebound from starting at the rear of the field to get up to the front of the pack here, as Brad Lane, Chris Gilbert round out our top 5. Evan Goulmet back there in 6th. Kevin Winker sits in 7th. And Koschersberger back here in the 8th position. Brandon Domingue back out on the racetrack. He scored back in that 9th spot on the speedway. For Jacob Grube. Grube down pit road now as well. He's currently scored in the 10th position. We'll probably lose a couple spots here, as I'm sure John Herbert, Ryan Peterson, and some of these other cats will get around him there, as Herbert's back in 11th, Peterson there in 12th, Dimitri Curtis in 13th, Kyle Glidewell back in 14th, with Gordon Glidewell back in 14th, Kyle Van Tassel in 15th, Tim Blankenbackler there in 16th, and it's Tyler Lemon who rounds out our top 17 here this evening. But everybody is chasing down Nicholas Snyder. Is Snyder out in front? We'll see. 10 laps left to go here in this one. 10 more laps left to duke it out here for the number 5 ride of Nicholas Snyder. He's got 3.6 seconds between himself and Kyle Wiggins, as Wiggins trying to get this Waffle House number 14 ride up and into victory lane. So is it Cal Turbeville. Turbeville so far on the season, I would say, has been the most consistent. We saw Cal come home 3rd at Daytona. We saw him come home 2nd last week at Auto Club, and he's looking to try to come home 3rd again here tonight from the beautiful Phoenix Raceway. So potentially 3 trips up into the broadcast booth early on in the year for Cal Turbeville, who seemed to really turn around. Last season we saw him pick up a big win at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and for the 64 ride, it seems like here this year he's turned up that wick, and 64 rides been very, very consistent here to start this season, but yet to find victory lane. So we'll have to wait and see when he can finally punch through and pick up a dub, as Snyder out in front looking to try to get back to his winning ways. But the gap between him and Kyle Wiggins, it is closing a little bit, but I think for Snyder, he's just trying to take it easy here. He's on cruise control. He doesn't want to burn up his tires too much. He doesn't want to open up the door for a late race caution flag for one of these guys to be able to just blow his doors off. So I think he's saving a little bit right now, making sure, taking his time, hitting his marks, not wanting to make any major mistakes where a huge chunk of time will get chewed up and see that 14 right really track him down in a quick hurry. So I think for Snyder, he's just playing it safe out there on the speedway. Still got 3 seconds. The laps are clicking down to quick hurries. The next time by the start finish line here for this number 5 ride, it will be 6 laps left to go in this race. So 3 seconds, 6 laps. You could virtually give up, 4/10 of a second every single lap, and they still won't be able to catch you. So he can really roll out of it early, really be on that cautious side of just trying to take it easy here over these 6 laps. He can give up quite a bit of time, even almost a half a second a lap here. And for the 14 rider, Kyle Wiggins probably still won't be able to get there. He may be able to get there, but he may not be able to make that pass or be able to find the run to be able to make something happen late in this race. As for Nicholas Snyder, down across the line, 5 laps left to go here. The gap is 2.7 seconds, or maybe for Kyle Wiggins, he's just found another gear here in this 14 ride, and he is trying to track down that number 5 ride as quickly as possible. But yeah, time is running out in a quick hurry. This time doesn't look like he's really gained too much on Snyder at all. As down across the line, 4 more laps left to go. And for Kyle Wiggins, you got to be on that safe side as well. You may be burning up your stuff. You may push the truck too hard trying to close that gap. If you do push it too hard, too far, and you put yourself into a bad situation, all of a sudden it brings Cal Turbeville right into the action here for potentially stealing that second spot away from you. Brad Lane back there in 4th. Chris Gilbert rounding out our top 5 as Evan Goulmet there in 6th. Kevin Winker, K-Dub, who's been pretty solid here to start the season himself after a couple, he had a top 3 run, came home 2nd at Daytona. I do believe 4th there at Auto Club for Winker. He sits back here in the 7th position, the farthest back he's been all season long. He's got about 9 seconds between himself and our 8th place driver, Ed Koschersberger. So for K-Dub, looking for a top 7 run here this evening, man. Heck of a day still for that 42 right after his pit strategy and his crazy cycles there unfortunately kind of went out the window as the caution flag came out back on lap 110 area. Is out in front, Snyder with only 2 laps left to go here, still over 2.6 seconds between him and Kyle Wiggins. So for the Snyder Bees racing ride, he's just got to make this virtually 6 more corners to pick up our 3rd checkered flag here in the Metal Morphosis Machine LLC HCK Beagles Truck Series here this year as the white flag has been displayed. So one more time around here for Snyder as he heads down into corner number 1, nice and easy, rolls down through corner number 2 and exits corner number 2 and heads down the Phoenix Raceway back straightaway as Nicholas Snyder with a 3-second gap now can take it easy as down through 3 and out of 4, the Snyder Bees racing ride will find victory lane here this evening from Phoenix Raceway. It's Nicholas Snyder who gets it done. It picks up the win here in our 3rd race of the Metamorphosis Machine HCK Beagles Truck Series here in 2025. I do believe it is season 7, season 8. I don't even know what season we're on anymore with these guys. It's season something, but for Snyder, finally getting back into his winning ways and putting this 5 right up and into victory lane, man. What a run, what a drive for him here this evening. Qualified on the pole. Played some strategy, had some different runs, fell back a little bit there on some different tire performances, and obviously trying to hit some different tire strategies. And luckily enough, he plays it all perfectly, and it plays into his favor as he's able to capture the win here this evening from the beautiful Phoenix Raceway. Kyle Wiggins, the Waffle House ride with a great run, comes home in 2nd, and Cal Turbeville back there in position number 3. 3 races, 3 podiums for that 64 ride as Snyder gets to celebrate. He gets to burn it down here this evening. We'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. We'll wait for them to jump up into the waiting room before we get them up here for their interviews this evening, man. But what a run, what a drive, what a performance by these cats here today. As K-Dub, what's good, K-Dub, says, damn, had the start perfectly, laugh out loud, at least I got that stage win. 3 stage wins, yeah, three races, 3 stage wins for Kevin Winker. That's a win on its own, as he says. Good race, everyone. Yeah, great race, great run right there. Only a couple yellow flags, not really any major damage for any of the drivers. We saw everyone being able to continue to compete and battle here as man, Snyder's still getting to celebrate, man. He's still pumped up. He's still, pumped here about this one as we'll get ready to pull him up into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Nicholas Snyder. We'll pull him up here into the broadcast booth as he'll head down into the Phoenix Raceway victory lane. Hey, Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Nick, man, what a run. What a drive, man. Take us back through this one. Obviously, a big win for you. Your first one on the season as you park that 5 right up and into the Phoenix Raceway victory lane here this evening, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind right now.
That feels pretty good. I was just wondering what everyone else was doing, just because I think the fuel got messed up or something. It was gonna be like a 4 or 5 stop race, um, and then that caution kind of came out, and it kind of helped. I think it benefited me, Kyle, and Brad. Chris got off strategy there with our team, but all in all, it was a great night. I felt like we were pretty good. All night I wasn't worried about when Brandon put a huge gap on me. I figured I could, make that gap back up once I got back on the same tire strategy as everyone else was.
Yeah, absolutely. So tires came into play here. Obviously, a lot of pit stops. Fuel was definitely a big issue, and it comes down to these final couple of runs, these final couple of green flag pit stops, and obviously that caution flag kind of threw out some of the pit strategy. We saw Winker on a different pit strategy there, trying to do what he normally does and play an aggressive kind of pit strategy. What was kind of going through your mind right there? Did you think, no matter what these guys were doing, if they were trying to save fuel to make it into a 3-stop race, that you were still going to be able to kind of use the fresher tires, making the one extra pit stop to potentially track them down late in this race? Or what was kind of going through your mind there throughout this one, knowing that some of these guys were trying to be a little bit more aggressive with these fuel runs?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really worried um, about anything. I felt pretty confident in my team strategy, and it planned out as we got 1 and 2. Brad and Chris got fourth and fifth, so I wasn't worried, too much. I was worried when that caution came out because I was like, I just wanted to go green because I knew, you know, me, Kyle, and Brad, we were looking good to sweep the podium. But that late race caution just came out and just threw a little bit of a mix in there. But like I said, all in all, I was pretty confident in strategies.
Absolutely. Well, the strategy all pays off for you here in this one as you're able to have a hell of a day qualifying on the pole. You hit everything right, and here you are late in this race, just on cruise control, binding and watching that gap between yourself and Kyle Wiggins, and never really let him get too close to you to even give him a glimmer of hope here late in this race to try to beat you, unless there was a late race caution flag. What was kind of going through your mind there in those closing laps, knowing that, Phoenix, you can't see a yellow flag here in a quick hurry like any other racetrack, but it could really change the entire outcome of this race?
Yeah. Once everyone made their pit stops, I think I was like 5 seconds on Kyle, and I was like, I was just gonna wait for a late race caution just in case that did happen. So I was just saving tires and trying to manage the gap there. Never really let him get too close, and he knew that. Um, so he knew I was just toying with him at the end.
Just playing with your food out there on the speedway here in this one. As Nick, you park that car up here in victory lane here at Phoenix Raceway, man, in our third race of the season. Nick, who would you like to thank for such a great run and another great performance and victory here in the HCK Beagles?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'd like to thank my team because they're the ones that push me hard, week in and week out. I had a little bit of a rough 2 races so far, and I'm glad we're picking up again. I'd like to thank Billy, my mom and dad, and everyone that's a part of my crew and in real life and 360s racing. As our season's getting ready to come to an end next week at Hendry County Motorsports Park, and I'd like to thank you for taking your time on Tuesday. Sorry, I got my days mixed up there for a second. On Tuesday, um, to broadcast this race.
Absolutely, brother. No better place to be on a Tuesday night than up here in the booth and watching you guys duke it out here on the racetrack. Nicholas, congrats on the win. Congrats on the great drive. And hopefully now a bit of momentum, a bit of good luck onto your side here throughout the rest of the season and many more trips up here into the booth.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Nicholas Snyder. Snyder picks up the dub here this evening and parks the 5 ride up and into the top spot here this evening as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place driver, a driver who is up 14 positions in the 14 car. It's Kyle Wiggins. Kyle coming home in second. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Kyle, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Yep, I got a copy.
Kyle, man, hell of a run, hell of a drive here this evening. Take us back through this one and what's going through your mind after a absolutely amazing performance and one of your best runs here so far on the season with the HCK Beagles.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's crazy. I'm not real too good at this track. This is honestly one of the worst tracks that I can race at. But I feel like me, Nick, Chris, and Brad had a good strategy until Chris he got off of it. But I feel like me, Nick, and Brad were on the best strategy all day.
Yeah, obviously, and it shows here this evening. Obviously, Cal has been on a hot streak here, his third podium in a row to start the season. But for your team, rounding out 4 of the top 5 drivers here this evening just shows that the strategy was kind of on point here this evening, man. You guys had some fast race trucks to go along with that, and you guys put together a hell of a show and a hell of a battle there for a little while. As close to that first or final green flag pit stop, we look up and we see you, Cal, Brad, Chris, Evan, even K-Dub's kind of right there as well. You guys were just all stacked on top of each other, and it allowed Nick to kind of run away with it there for a while, and obviously run away with it here late in this race. But man, that had to be a lot of fun battling with all those guys right there, close proximity for so many laps.
Yeah, and the competition in this league it's real tough. I don't plan on running the whole league, but I like it. It's tough. You really have to strategize your race, and I figured that out at Daytona. If you get off a strategy, you're screwed. Um, but the caliber of drivers, it's high.
Yeah, a lot of fast cats, a lot of smart guys out there when it comes to that strategy, and it's definitely no Mickey Mouse wins here in this series. And here tonight, man, it's not even a Mickey Mouse top 3, man. It was a hell of a drive and a hell of a performance for you as you parked that 14 ride up 14 positions in our second spot this evening. Kyle, who'd you like to thank for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
Really just the team. I feel like me, Nick, and Brad and Chris are pretty good together, working together, and we all 3 talk about strategy before the race, and we can get it done.
Absolutely, definitely can get it done, and you guys looked strong here this evening. It'll be exciting to see what you guys can do here, obviously, next week and for the rest of the season to try to, potentially, drive Nicholas into his first championship here with the HCK Beagles Truck Series. Heck of a run, heck of a drive, and a hell of a performance for you tonight, Kyle. Congrats on that second place finish, and we hope to see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Absolutely enjoy the rest of your night. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, the 14 of Kyle Wiggins. Now, we talked about how Kyle was also up 14 spots on the Speedway. Started back in, I do believe it is the 15th position out there on the racetrack. 15th or 16th position. 16th position here this evening. So, virtually, he was in that penultimate position to start this race. Comes in the, first loser spot here, and this one comes home in second, but up 14 spots, and the driver right behind him also up 14 spots. Started back in 17th here today at the back of the pack, sort of the tail of the field. It is the number 64, Cal Turbeville, who comes home up 14 spots and parks it in position number 3. Let's get him up here into the booth as Cal Turbeville picks up the dub. Let's get him up here into the booth right now. Hey, Cal, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Cal, man, another great run, another great performance as your third podium here in 3 races to start the season, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind right now as you're able to get back up here into another third-place run?
Yeah, I'm glad to keep it going for a third week in a row. I think we had a good truck tonight. It's not my favorite track in the world. It was pretty loose out there, but main thing was just saving tires. Fuel was pretty decent at the beginning of the race, but uh mainly there in the beginning we just decided that we was gonna just run two stops on fuel, no tires, and get us about to 120, and worked out in our favor real good, especially after that first caution. Is what really settled it into our minds. And yeah, once it got to about lap 120, it was just give her all she had.
Yeah, absolutely. Give her all she had, especially with that middle race caution flag, almost late race caution there around lap 110. Really gave you guys a big opportunity there to come down pit road, throw a set of tires on right there, and then we got to watch you guys duke it out for, the race win. But really for a while, it was there for second as we saw you battling with Kyle Wiggins and with the five right of Snyder pulling away, but you throw in Brad Lane and Gilbert, Evan Gomet. All those guys kind of stacked right on top of each other for so many laps there before that final pit stop. And then finally you're able to come down pit road. You get a good stop in. You come out in third, and you're just trying to hunt down that 14 right of Kyle Wiggins. Hope that he makes a late race mistake so you can at least gain one more spot because, man, Snyder was just absolutely gone. Once you guys kind of got battling back there door to door for a second, he was just able to pull away and win this one.
Yeah, definitely. He was very fast all night. Mainly after we took the second caution there and had to come in, it just put us all back together, and we was just battling, just burning our stuff up, trying all we had, but there wasn't much we could do to catch him. I think that so far this has probably been the most even race so far that we've had of just back and forth between drivers. It's just really hard to pass here, and I'll take a third.
Yeah, absolutely. Any day that you can show up to the racetrack, we saw you didn't even get a qualifying lap in, so you had to start at the back of the pack, and you, along with Kyle Wiggins, both gained 14 positions here to round out our podium this evening, man. How does that feel, knowing that you're able to pass that many cars still and come home with a solid third-place run?
Yeah, it definitely feels good. I wasn't expecting it. It was kind of my fault for missing qualifying. I wasn't paying attention, just run out of time to make anything happen, but I managed to get up through there a lot faster than I was expecting, especially with that caution that helped us. But yeah, it was just nothing but luck, honestly, there in the beginning. And I was just able to ride off that the rest of the race, put us in a good position.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes those yellow flags, those other issues that may be big problems for other drivers turn out to be a very lucky break for others. And here tonight, you get the lucky breaks early on. It puts you into a good spot and allows you to battle as you come home with another podium finish here on the season. Cal, who would you like to thank again here tonight for your third podium run in 3 races this year?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for doing such a great job up here broadcasting this thing. I'd like to thank everybody behind HCK, doing a great job. We got a great league going. I'd like to thank Evan for helping me out yet again with the strategies. He's been killing it. Hopefully we can get him back up here soon. Give him some good luck. I'd like to thank Rob for sitting in the background. We got to get him back in it, but he's having some technical difficulties. I'd like to thank everybody that's watching me at home, everybody that's watching racing in general. Just thank y'all for coming out.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Cal, another great run, another great race. We'll have to wait and see if next Tuesday you can make it 4 races in a row up here on the podium, man. We look forward to seeing you back out there and hopefully seeing you right back up here in the booth.
Yes, sir. We're going to show enough try.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Cal Turbeville, as Cal comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that number 64. As he comes home in third, that will round out our post-race interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here throughout this feature event, man. This was another great race, another fun one, man. Elliot couple caution flags, a lot of good hard green flag laps, a lot of green flag pit stops, and really made things very, very interesting here this evening, man. Shout out to all the amazing drivers that showed up and showed out here this evening. All of you amazing fans in the stands who came in and showed the love, whether it was, dropping a comment or two or hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already, and any of the new subscribers here this evening, and obviously to everyone that came in and hit that like button as well. And if you haven't already, it's not too late to do that, man. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment or two. Let us know what you thought here of the broadcast, and we'll see you guys back up here in the booth tomorrow night. We'll be back up here. We got some dirt track racing tomorrow evening, so make sure you guys have those bell notifications turned on. That way you guys never miss it when we go live here on Peacemaker Gaming, because you do not want to miss out on the amazing action here in the series. As we'll see you guys back here in the booth tomorrow night just before 8:20, just somewhere around there, quarter after 8 Eastern. We'll be back live and bringing you guys some more amazing racing action. But thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all back here in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Vision. Planning. Possibility. At Metal Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metal Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today. Precision. Planning. Possibility. At Metal Morphosis Machine, we turn ideas into engineered reality. Whether you're working with plastics, composites, ferrous or non-ferrous metals, our capabilities and vast partner network ensure no project is too big, too small, or too complex. From concept to completion, your success starts here. Discover how Metal Morphosis can elevate your machining needs today.
Legends swinging tires break the ground. Beagles trucks where legends are crowned. Morphosis name burning in the night. Lights flash, speed clash, we're taking flight. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles trucks where we all compare. Morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rafting close to the windshield blade. Adrenaline rush fills a fire grenade. Roaring past the clouds, we'll let you roar. Every lap, every turn, craving more. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles trucks where we all compare. Metal Morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. No time to spare. Push the pedal down, nothing left to lose. Victory's a choice, and this is what we choose. Racing thunder, terror in the air. Beagles trucks where we all compare. Metal Morphosis, we ride, we dare. Fast and loud, no time to spare. Rubber bugs, streams ignite. Steel beats charging into the fight. No regrets, no slowing down. We're the kings of this battleground. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare. No time to spare.